Think back to the last time it happened, the betrayal, the moment the world went silent and the air left your lungs, the moment a dagger appeared in your back, held by a hand you used to hold, a hand you thought was there to protect you. You felt the shock first, a cold electric jolt of disbelief. Then came the pain, a nauseating wave that threatened to pull you under. You asked yourself over and over again, why? You replayed every conversation, every promise, searching for a clue you missed. You thought it was an anomaly, a tragic random exception to the rules of the decent world. Niccolò Machiavelli, a man who stared into the dark heart of power without blinking, would tell you that you are a fool. He would tell you that the betrayal was not the exception. It was the rule. It was inevitable. And it will happen again and again until you learn the lesson you were never supposed to learn. You were taught to trust. It was the first lesson. To believe in the good in people. To build your life on the fragile foundations of loyalty, honesty, and faith in others. This is the noble lie society sells you. It is a beautiful, comforting fairy tale designed to keep you docile, cooperative, and predictable. It works wonderfully for the system, but it is a death sentence for the individual. You are not a child anymore, but you still believe in fairy tales. You have seen the evidence with your own eyes, yet you refuse to accept the verdict. You saw it in the friend who swore loyalty, then vanished the moment you were no longer useful for their career. You saw it in the partner who promised eternal love, only to replace you when a newer, more exciting option appeared on their horizon. You saw it in the company that called you family and celebrated your sacrifices, right up until the day they fired you with a cold, impersonal email to protect their bottom line. These were not random acts of cruelty. They were not failures of character on their part. They were the natural, predictable, and logical outcomes of a game whose rules you were never taught, a game you have been losing your entire life. Machiavelli, a man who witnessed the darkest betrayals in the blood-soaked courts of Renaissance Italy, understood the truth. He wrote the operating manual for a world that runs not on sentiment, but on cold, hard self-interest. His discovery was brutal. It was terrifying. But it is the key to your survival, and ultimately, to your freedom. Trust is not a virtue. It is a strategic calculation, and most people are terrible at math. Today, we are going to teach you that math. This is not a guide to becoming cynical and paranoid. This is a guide to becoming unbreakable. If you want to get through life without being crushed by it, you need to face one hard truth about people. This is the core of Machiavelli's way of thinking. People are not monsters. That view is too simple. They are, above all, driven by self-interest. This is not good or bad. It's just how things work, like gravity. Every choice we make, whether a kind act or a cruel one, hides the same quiet question. What do I get from this? The answer can take many forms. It might be money, status, comfort, or joy. It might be avoiding pain, protecting pride, or even the warm glow of being seen as good. But the drive for self-interest is always there, shaping every move we make. You lose the game of life because you operate on a different, flawed assumption. You believe people are loyal to you. They are not. They are loyal to their needs, and more specifically, to the needs that you fulfill for them. You are not a person to them, not in the way you imagine. You are a source, a resource, a means to an end. You are a provider of comfort, of validation, of entertainment, of security. And the moment a better, more efficient, or more exciting resource appears on their radar, or the moment you cease to be useful to their current agenda, their loyalty will not just waver, it will shift instantly and without apology. This is not a sign of their monstrous nature. It is a sign of their human nature. Machiavelli understood this perfectly. He knew that alliances are temporary. He knew that gratitude has an expiration date. He knew that the only reliable bond between people is a clearly defined, mutually beneficial, shared self-interest. To believe in anything more, to build your life on the hope of selfless, unconditional loyalty, is to build your house on sand, on the edge of an ocean. To protect yourself, you must master 3 fundamental laws of this new, realistic physics of human interaction. The first law you must learn is this: trust is not stone. It is glass. People speak of trust as if it were a permanent, unshakable foundation, as if it were a sacred, mystical substance. This is a dangerous fantasy. Machiavelli would tell you that trust is beautiful. It shines. It reflects light. It can create clarity and beauty in a relationship. But the moment it is struck by the hammer of self-interest, it shatters, and it can never, ever be made whole again. You can try to glue the pieces back together, but the cracks will always be visible. The structure will never be as strong. The man who builds his life on trust is building his life on glass. And eventually, the pressures of reality will cause it to break beneath his feet. Observe the difference between the weak and the strong. The weak man begs for trust. He makes oaths. He pleads for belief in his true intentions. He demands that you see his heart. And when that trust shatters, he collapses with it, crying about how unfair the world is. The strong man never begs for trust. He engineers it. He manufactures it through a carefully controlled display of reputation, consistency, and competence. He uses trust as a tool, a tactic, a strategic asset, but never, ever as a foundation for his own survival. Think of the master con artist. He survives not because he is trustworthy, but because he has mastered the appearance of trustworthiness. Think of the politician. He doesn't need your genuine, deep trust. He needs just enough of it for just long enough to get your vote. Trust doesn't need to be real to be effective. It only needs to be convincing. And here is the darkest law of all, a truth that should send a chill down your spine. The man who trusts too much is far easier to control than the man who trusts nothing at all. Why? Because the man who trusts blindly will hand you the keys to his own destruction. He will forgive betrayal after betrayal, convinced you will change. He will believe your excuses, no matter how hollow, because the alternative is too painful to accept. The alternative is the truth, that he is alone, that he was a fool, that his judgment was flawed. He will cling to the illusion of trust long after it has died, because the cold reality terrifies him. This is why weak men are devoured. They mistake trust for proof of love, proof of honor, proof of morality. But in the real world, trust is just leverage. And those who understand this hold the leash around every blind believer's neck. So burn this into your mind. Never depend on trust. Use it, shape it, exploit it, but never ever rest your survival on it. Because trust is not stone. It is glass. And it was made to be broken. The second law you must master is that loyalty is a currency, not a virtue. You were taught that loyalty is a noble, selfless act, a sacred bond that transcends circumstance. This is perhaps the most dangerous lie of all because it preys on your best intentions. It turns your capacity for devotion into a weapon that is used against you. Loyalty is not a feeling. It is a transaction, a cold, hard exchange of value. People are loyal to you precisely as long as you are useful to them. The moment that equation of value changes, their loyalty evaporates. To believe otherwise is to be a wide-eyed child in a world of ruthless merchants. Machiavelli saw this with brutal clarity. He saw kings who trusted the loyalty of their generals get stabbed in the back the moment a better offer was made. He saw leaders who thought the love of their people would protect them, only to be devoured by the same mob who had cheered their name just weeks before. And today, nothing has changed. The currency is just different. In the workplace, your colleagues are loyal to you as long as you are a useful ally in their climb up the corporate ladder. The moment you become a competitor or a liability, that loyalty vanishes. In your social circle, your friends are loyal as long as you provide entertainment, validation, or status. But face a true crisis, a real storm that requires them to sacrifice something of their own, and watch how quickly the ranks thin. The naive man believes loyalty is about shared history or affection. The strategist understands it is about aligned incentives. A man who keeps giving loyalty to those who do not return it is not virtuous. He is a fool. He is a slave. And slaves get broken. Think about the most powerful and effective people you know, the ones who actually control their lives. Are they blindly loyal? Do they stick around after betrayal, after disrespect, after being taken for granted? Hell no. They are strategically loyal. They understand that loyalty is a contract, and it is a contract with an expiration date. It is renewed daily, based on mutual respect and reciprocal value. The moment the contract is broken by the other party, all bets are off. The hard truth is, loyalty isn't about being a dog that follows its master, no matter how badly it is treated. It's about being a wolf that walks beside those who have proven they are worthy, and who bares its teeth the moment they are not. So how do you use this knowledge without becoming a cold, transactional machine? You become a wise investor of your loyalty. You give it generously, but never unconditionally. You must constantly audit the loyalty of those around you. You test people, not with grand, traumatic loyalty tests, but with small, quiet observations. Watch how they behave when there is nothing in it for them. Notice who shows up in your storms, not just your sunshine. Notice who defends your name when you are not in the room. This is the only data that matters, and you must be willing to cut loose those who bleed you dry, without guilt, without hesitation, without a second thought. Because a man who demands loyalty but never gives it back is a tyrant. But a man who keeps giving his loyalty to those who waste it, he is a willing victim. He is choosing his own destruction. A prince never lacks legitimate reasons to break his promises. Niccolò Machiavelli. The third and most brutal law is that weakness is not a void, it is a vacuum. Weakness is not a neutral state of being. It does not simply fail to protect you. It actively invites aggression. It is a signal to the predators of the world that you are an easy meal. It is a scent of blood in the water. Machiavelli wrote, Hatred is gained as much by good works as by evil. What does this chilling sentence mean? It means that even if you are the kindest, most virtuous, most harmless person in the world, your weakness alone will make people despise you. Your inability to enforce boundaries, to say no, to stand up for yourself, it does not inspire compassion in most people. It inspires contempt. A weak person poisons every bond they touch. They lean on others to carry them. They drain the strong with endless needs for comfort and approval. They make the world harder because they prove to predators that feeding on weakness works. This is why strength is a duty, not to harm, not to rule, but to avoid being a burden to yourself, your family, and everyone around you. Strength is not a choice. It is the cost of living with dignity. Once you see this, every moment becomes a test. Who hunts? Who gets hunted? Who sets the terms? Who follows without thought? This lies under every talk, every deal, every tie between people. A man who cannot guard himself, his loved ones, or his name is not good. He is a risk to himself and to all who rely on him, because his weakness paints a target on them all. Let's dissect this further. The nice guy who can never say no. He thinks he is being kind, but his weakness forces his partner to become the bad guy, the one who has to set all the boundaries. He drains her energy until she either leaves him or becomes resentful. The peace-loving employee who never speaks up against a bad idea. He thinks he is being a team player, but his silence becomes complicity. He allows the entire team to walk off a cliff because he was too afraid to make waves. His weakness corrupts the entire project. This is the sinister nature of weakness. It doesn't just harm the weak. It poisons everything around them. Therefore, the pursuit of strength, mental, physical, financial, and spiritual, is not a selfish act. It is an act of service to the world. So you see the landscape, a world driven by cold self-interest, a world where trust is glass and loyalty is a currency to be exchanged, a world where weakness is an open invitation to be devoured. You were trained to close your eyes to this reality. But now, the blindfold is off. And here is the most dangerous part. You can't go back. From this moment on, you will see every smile as a potential mask, every promise as potential bait, every act of virtue as a potential strategy. You have stepped into the darkness, and once you've seen it, the light of naive illusion will never blind you again. The question is no longer will you learn these truths. You already have. The question is, what will you do with them? Because knowledge like this is a weapon. In the hands of a weak and fearful man, it turns into paranoia, cynicism, and a bitter resentment of the world. He sees enemies everywhere. He trusts no one. He becomes a prisoner in a fortress of his own making. But in the hands of a strong and integrated man, it becomes power. The kind of power that bends the world to a better will. Betrayal is not a personal attack on you. It is a natural function of someone else's self-interest colliding with your naivety. The shock you feel is not the shock of their cruelty. It is the shock of your own blindness. The real betrayal was not what they did to you. It was your refusal to see the world as it is. And that is a betrayal you have been committing against yourself your entire life. Today, that self-betrayal ends. So how do you navigate this treacherous world without becoming a paranoid, cynical monster yourself? You do not need to become like them. You simply need to become wiser than them. You adopt a code of strategic trust, a new operating system for your relationships, built on 3 pillars of Machiavellian wisdom. First, assume self-interest, not malice. This is the foundational mindset shift. When someone acts in a way that hurts you, your first naive instinct is to ask, why would they do this to me? This is ego. The strategist asks a different, colder, and far more powerful question. How does this action serve them? Do not judge their action as good or evil. Just understand the calculus behind it. Are they seeking security, status, avoiding discomfort? When you understand their motive, you remove the emotional sting of their action. You stop taking it personally. You start seeing the game with cold clarity. You stop being surprised by their behavior. You start anticipating it. And the man who can anticipate his opponent's moves is the man who can never be truly ambushed. Second, trust patterns, not promises. Words are the cheapest currency in the world. Promises are smoke, designed to obscure reality. A person's patterns of action, especially under pressure, are the only truth. Has this person demonstrated loyalty in the past when it cost them something? Has this person shown integrity when no one was watching? Has this person taken responsibility for their mistakes? Or do they always deflect blame? That is the only data you can trust. Judge them by their history, not by the beautiful hopes they sell you about the future. As Machiavelli implied, a prince must judge men by what they do, not by what they say they will do. Grant your trust in small, calculated increments based on proven, consistent behavior, not in a single blind leap of faith. Third, build alliances, not friendships based on sentiment. This sounds cold, but it is the key to real power and lasting security. Alliances are not built on fleeting emotions. They are forged in the fire of mutual, aligned self-interest. Find people whose success is inextricably tied to your success. A business partner whose profits depend on yours. A creative collaborator whose vision aligns with yours. A spouse who sees your union not just as a source of comfort, but as a strategic partnership for building an empire. Support these allies relentlessly. Make yourself indispensable to their goals. Their loyalty will not be a matter of feeling. It will be a matter of strategic necessity. And that is a bond far stronger and far more reliable than any promise whispered in the dark. Machiavelli's lessons are not an invitation to become a monster. They are an invitation to stop being prey. The world is a jungle, and in the jungle, you cannot survive with the morality of a sheep. You need the cunning of the fox to recognize the traps and the strength of the lion to frighten the wolves. You need to be both. This is the path of integration. It is not about abandoning your kindness or your goodness. It is about arming them. It is about understanding that true goodness in a dangerous world must be strategic. It must be protected. It must be, when necessary, ruthless. A good man who is also a nice man, a harmless man, is not a good man. He is a good victim. The truly good man is the one who has the capacity for great harm, but chooses, with discipline, to use that capacity for a higher purpose. He is the man who has integrated his shadow. He has looked at the Machiavellian truths of the world without flinching, and he has chosen to become a strategist for the light. You have been given the keys to a forbidden kingdom. You now understand the hidden economy of fear and reward, the temporary nature of trust, the necessity of masks, and the strategic use of truth. You see the world not as it pretends to be, but as it is, a constant, silent war for power. What you do with this knowledge will define the rest of your life. You can retreat back into the comfortable lie. You can go back to playing checkers, hoping the chess masters will spare you. Or you can step onto the board. You can accept the brutal reality of human nature and use that knowledge not for personal gain alone, but to protect what you love, to build something that lasts, to become a force for order in a world of chaos. The honest man is not noble. He is prey. But the man who masters the art of strategic honesty, he is a king. If you are strong enough to carry this weapon, if you are ready to stop being prey and start being a player, then make your declaration. Join the men who are choosing to see. Go to the comments and declare your new understanding. Write, "I trust actions, not words." It is a declaration that you understand the true nature of the game, a commitment to seeing reality, no matter how brutal. Subscribe to the Thinker's Codex. Your real training has just begun.